would be a joke, and the three of us would laugh, and then the theater was silent.
Yeah.
And I was like, are there, like, old people or, like, weird people in this?
I love OP characters. Like, if you're not overpowered, I struggle. Like, I watch anime, and I struggled with Naruto in the beginning. Like, bro was so weak. I'm like, bro, stop losing.
Welcome to the Point of View podcast. My name's Yosa.
And my name's Osada Harmon.
And here we are today for another episode.
Yep, we're super excited to be here once again.
Yeah, so this week we are talking about a movie that came out 2-3 weeks ago in theaters.
Yeah.
Like July 10th.
It'll be about maybe a month from when this episode is published.
Yeah. So we're talking about the Superman movie that just came out. We know it was a really big hit, especially for a lot of DC fans that have been waiting for their moment. So Superman just came out. It's a pretty good movie. I'd give it a 6 out of 10.
Wow, her rating seems to go down like
Actually, no, I said it was a 7, and then I said it was a 5, and now I'm sticking with my trusty 6. Again, it wasn't a bad movie.
I don't know. What did I say it was?
You said a 7, like right after we watched it. But as Abby Lee Miller said, you were good. I'm waiting for you to be great. People just hyped out the movie a little too much.
They did.
But it was still a good movie, but it just wasn't. I was expecting something phenomenal, and I got something normal. Like
yeah. Like, a little background, like, we didn't watch it for a good number of weeks from when it came out. Mm-hmm. And we got access to, like, really nice seats and good tickets. And so we were super excited. I'd seen everyone posting on their story. Yeah. DC is back. DC is great. DC this,
Which
DC
that.
It
is, because, like, that's how low the bar is for the other movies.
That's true. That is true. So I go into it, and it starts out so weird. Like, it starts out with literally, it doesn't, normally in Superman movies and Superman shows and everything, it builds up, it may not say all of his childhood, but it'll at least show you a bit of it, and it'll say, oh, this is him, this is how he got his job at the Daily Planet, XYZ. It didn't do any of that. There were literally words on the screen. It was like,
12 hours ago he fought.
Well, it starts out with like 30 decades, or not 30 decades. No, 3 decades. 3 decades ago, Superman or Clark Kent like landed on this planet, and then he started a job, and then he did this. Like, it was like timeline like that, and it was just words. I was like, okay, that's a little weird, but yeah, I can understand trying to like get to the point of like the movie, the action, and it's like, it talks about how he was like the strongest man on the planet, and he has never lost a fight until now. And that's how it starts. And it literally starts with him being beaten up.
He's really like smashing
into the snow. And we're just kind of like, it's like us two, and then another sister. We're kind of looking at each other and like,
what the heck? Like,
since when did Superman...
Did we miss like 30 minutes of the movie? Like,
since when did Superman literally get beaten up in the beginning? Like, It was crazy. But yeah, it basically is Superman, and he's fighting like, the big villain, Lex Luthor. And Lex is like, knows everything about Superman. Like, he studied him, literally a stalker. Like, not like literally a stalker.
His biggest fan, but like opposite.
Yeah. An anti-fan, is that what it's called?
I don't even know.
I don't know, but it was
whatever the opposite is.
Yes. But it starts out with him losing. Lex Luthor knows all his moves, his weaknesses. We don't really, usually we dive deep into like the story and the whole summary. There's a lot that we kind of don't want to spoil. We kind of just want to talk about like, highlights and like the main core and themes that we saw in the movie. So we're not going to like normally like give a full summary, but it's like every other Superman movie. It starts out with, or the movie is him, fighting against evil, fighting against injustice, and, sometimes people not understanding his perspective and him having to fight, sometimes the common man in order to save them. And so it's it had a good message. I really appreciated the theme, the message. However, one thing that we will probably say multiple times throughout this whole episode is that the humor was just not right for this movie.
It was weird.
It was weird. And our brother likes to say we didn't understand the humor and everything, and we did. But it was just like there was scenes that it was like,
in fact, we were the only ones laughing in the theater.
Yeah, actually we were.
Like there would be a joke and the three of us would laugh and then the theater was silent.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, are there like old people or like weird people in this theater?
I mean, the jokes were funny, but they were out of place. Like it was weird.
Yeah, it was just like someone, like, it's a very serious scene and someone would make a joke that was so out of context, and it's kind of like, oh, that's a joke, so you laugh, but I was also kind of like, what? And then like the theater was silent that we were in, so it's like I'm like kind of chuckling and then I hear nothing else and I'm like, oh,
okay.
Like, let me just sit back and be quiet.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was the strangest movie I've ever watched. Like, story, like, normally it's like, oh, it's just cringe and the story sucks. The story was great.
Acting great. CGI great.
Everything was great. It was literally just like the humor.
The humor threw me off. If we could have taken out like the way the humor, not even the humor, but the way it was delivered, great movie. I would give it a 9.
You would give it a 10?
I would give it a 10. That was literally
9.5.
my only. You would have gone up 4 points. You just improved the humor. So maybe get a new writer. I don't know.
James Gunn,
I don't know.
right?
Maybe we're just haters. I don't know. I guess.
Hey, I've been a Marvel girl since day one, since I was able to start watching Marvel movies, and I always and forever will be. But that doesn't mean I don't say that DC doesn't have good movies. Wonder Woman,
I
Aquaman.
like the Batman. The Batman was
too.
A good
yes,
movie.
we talked about that. You guys should check out our.
No, I mean Robert Pattinson.
Oh, that one. Oh,
Dark Knight is still better, but his was pretty good. Because a lot of people weren't expecting the movie to be good.
Because it was like, who is this Twilight boy?
Twilight kid, like, coming back.
Oh, that's so funny. So I guess the first thing we want to talk about is like the love and family of the Superman movie. Like, I feel like a huge part of Superman is love and family. Yeah. Like, it's this, like, you know, this kid or this guy that got adopted after he literally landed his spaceship in like the farm of his adopted family.
Farm.
The Kent farm. But something that was actually really interesting about this movie that like was a spin, and like, you know, I'm hearing that like this Superman movie is more accurate to the comics, but it almost didn't portray his relationship with his family as closely. Like
his Earth
family. It was almost like the words and the ideas of his birth family or birth parents was like almost at a higher regard, and it was almost more portrayed as more like a better and stronger connection than his adopted family, which like towards the end you saw it wasn't really like that, but it really started the movie. It's almost like does he even have does he even have adopted parents? Like, we barely even heard about them. Like, it was very different than typical. But I think that it was interesting to see. I see why they were trying to do it though, yo. So I see that they were trying to show like
he almost had this like false connection to his Kryptonian parents, and then it was revealed later on that it's like, oh, it's not actually like, because we're gonna spoil it, sorry. But like in the movie, like there's this message, as I'm sure most of you know.
Don't say the message, just like,
but like the Kryptonians, the planet blows up, obviously he gets sent to Earth, so there's a message that his parents send out, and in this message it had gotten distorted because, you know, you're literally traveling between like planets and so
galaxies,
and so this message gets out, but he only hears the first part of it, so he's basing that off the 20-30 years of his living. He's thinking, okay, my purpose is to follow what my Kryptonian parents wanted.
That was his identity.
And he's like, I'm gonna help the people, I'm gonna protect Earth. And so like Lex Luthor and like his goons kind of find like
Every time you say the word goon, Yosa, like
Goonies. It's literally his goons. They're like his
I
pawns.
know, like no, they're his like arms, like fingers.
Like he literally does not do anything the whole movie. It is
He
literally
just shouts
like
commands. A13, A3.
no, it's 1A. He's like 1A.
Oh, is it 1A? Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
you're
one
right.
that
It is
he's
1A.
like punching back in like every single time.
Yeah, he's like 1A.
And I'm like, bro, you're not even. And he's like pretending to move his arm, and I'm like, all right, but
Lex Luthor in that movie, I know he was a villain, but
hear me out. Bro.
yeah, hear me out.
He was a good villain though. Crazy, but that's what made him a good villain.
Yes.
But kind of like what you were saying, like the message, Lex Luthor gets a hold of this, and like he has higher tech, so he's able to like basically like get the rest of this message. And there's a part of this message that like Superman Clark has never heard, and this message get broadcasted to the entire world, and it's basically revealing kind of the opposite of what Superman stands for, everything he's been fighting for. And so he sees this, and like not only is the world turning against him, but he's also like devastated because he's like, this isn't what I thought. And now everyone's like, you came here to like, he's like, do you have a secret harem? Like, where's your harem?
Oh my goodness. Lex Luthor is so funny.
He's actually really funny in the movie.
Because he literally like this villain, he's intelligent. And like that's the difference I think with some villains in like superhero movies, and sometimes even like the way Lex Luthor is portrayed in other Superman.
Yeah.
Like the intelligence is not necessarily like there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there, but it's like it's not portrayed as well. But this Lex Luthor, he knew the minds of people. He knew that like he saying the word secret harem, like everywhere all over the world would be like, whoa,
What?
harem.
That was actually probably the funniest part of the movie. That I think someone made a joke about the secret harem, and that line actually did hit really well.
Yeah, no, it did.
I don't remember what it is, but like I remember it was something about that. But like I think it's just showing that like that kind of like broke the connection with his Kryptonian parents. Not that I'm saying he like neglected his earthly parents, but it almost seemed like he had this like pedestal he held his Kryptonian parents on, and it was just all shattered. And then he realized, he's like, well, I don't need their identity to like define me, and I have a family here that raised me, and they've taught me who I can be. I don't have to be this Kryptonian alien that's come to rule over Earth and have a secret harem or whatever else was in the video or recording. But
yeah, no, I really, sometimes you don't think about the fact that Superman is in fact adopted. Like, I feel like that's a message that you know, but it's almost like,
yeah,
like it's not processed. I mean, maybe some people process. I don't want to generalize the whole world, but at least I would always think, oh yeah, you know, he has his Kryptonian parents, he has his Earth parents, and like they're just his parents. Like I never thought about adoption, but I think that especially in like society now, I feel like, and, you know, it's getting better, but like this whole idea of adoption and this whole idea of like difference from, you know, the nuclear family or the nuclear norm. I love how Superman really did like push for this message, and it has for like, how old is Superman? Like 50 years probably?
Oh, like the original?
Yeah, the comics, like, I don't know, 1900s
like,
sometimes.
Yeah, 60, 70 years, I don't know.
Yeah, like really old. Like, I mean, this has been a message for a long time, but we get to see it on like a big live screen, especially in this time where it's like, it's almost like the idea of a family and like, oh, you know, differences are wrong and they should stay away. And I love that this really harped on the fact that no, he's adopted. No, he has, like, you know, sometimes people talk about like, you know, their birth families, or people talk about other birth families like, oh, they're almost at a higher pedestal and the adopted family is lower. And you saw in the beginning it was kind of showing that message, and you're like, that's weird, that's not Superman. Yeah. But then you saw like sometimes in reality, like the birth family is not necessarily all that it may seem or all that they may seem. And the people that stepped up and gathered together and like were able to heal him was the family that took him in, the family that loved him. And I think that there was just so many great messages, but the idea of family and the idea of love, and that family is not always necessarily blood, but it can be like, people that decide to be family. And I think that
Yeah.
that's almost, in a way, like just as beautiful as like, a good birth family. And so idea of love and family, well, familial love, I feel like there was not, and we were kind of talking about this before we started recording, but there was not a lot of romance.
There were not a lot of Lois and Clark scenes.
There wasn't. And that's like really weird for Superman. Now, someone I'm sure,
which is like I know people were really excited about their chemistry.
Because like the few scenes you saw there, it was like the chemistry was literally there.
Yeah.
But it was barely there in the show. I'm like 3 scenes. I literally think it was like 3 or 4 scenes between Lois and Clark. It was like
Clark. The interview scene, the end scene where they're kissing, the scene where he tells her that he loves her, and then where like she saves him. And I think that's it.
Maybe in the beginning, like,
and then the scene where they're at the Daily Planet. But that wasn't even like they were acting like they hated each other because they had to keep their romance a secret or whatever. But like, I don't know. Maybe that's like how it's supposed to be. But like, I
said I want to read the comics because like this movie, like the differences between what I know of Superman and what happened in the movie bothered me so much. I'm like, is this really how the comic was? Because like, have we just been making up this like romantic story of Lois and Clark and this and this whole idea of his like, his birth family and his adopted family? Like, is that really how it was portrayed? Like,
maybe so. It's crazy. I don't know. Maybe. But also, I feel like there has to be a balance. Like, of course you have book and comic adaptations, but you also have to know when to include something, when not to. I feel like that's what being a good director is, which I'm sure he did because, again, I haven't read the comics. But, like, that's why I like that Marvel and a lot of these, like, book adaptations have done. And it's, like, they know what to include, like, straight from the book. And they know also what to add to give the storyline that extra, oomph or whatever. But I think another thing I liked about the movie is, like, so not that I'm not calling Superman weak, but Superman was not like this invincible, like,
overpowered,
crazy strong, like, Man of Steel. Like, he wasn't like Henry. Actually, we've been saying his name wrong.
Yeah, there was a comment on TikTok. Was it TikTok about
him? I literally just heard someone say his name, Henry Cavill. Is it Cavill?
I think it's Cavill.
Cavill, I think, because it's like British or like some I don't know. But
I don't know. We're American.
Cavill's like Superman is just very different, and so
let's just say Man of Steel. Let's stop messing up his name.
You're gonna get like a comment.
Oh my gosh!
But Man of Steel haters was very different. Like David Cornsweet, I think that's how you say his name. Because again, I don't know how to say his name either.
Sorry to people we're messing. We have hard names, so we understand like the annoyance of names being messed up. But we genuinely thought it was Henry Cavill.
Yeah, it's my bad, but. I think this movie really showed like Superman's lowest points. Like it really showed his inner struggles and his hardships. Humanity. Exactly. There's even the ending scene where he's talking to Luthor, like Lex Luthor, and he's like, I am human. I go to work every single day. I cry. I get mad. I get sad. Life gets hard for me. I'm just as human as everyone else. I'm not different from you guys just because I'm from a different planet. And I also love the message that portrays, just because you may be different on the outside,
or you're from somewhere else.
Exactly.
Or you come in a way that is not deemed the norm or a correct way.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that your hardships, your struggles are any less or any worse than anyone else, or that you shouldn't be welcome. Because it's like, you guys even thought when he was saving you and when he was doing all those things, you thought like, oh, it's fine that he's an alien. But then the second you find out one bad thing is when you turn on him, and it's like...
And it's not even about him. It's about his parents.
Yeah, like, it's not like he's listening to that message. It's like he's saving your lives. And so I think like during the movie, it really does show the humanity and the humbleness of Superman, of him not being this like literal man of steel, like, oh, I'm so strong, nothing can hurt me. Like that's not how it was. Like in the movie, he had highs and he had lows. And I think the inner battle of not only just like hearing from other people what his like Kryptonian parents were saying, but also just being judged by the people that had like once loved you, the people that literally put you on a pedestal, and then being betrayed and feeling like you're literally alone. Like, yeah, he had Lois and his parents, but it's like no one could really understand what he was going through, because like he is an alien. Like, there's no one else like him on the planet. And I think I really like that this Superman portrayed just like a lot of humanity and a lot of like normalness, which may have been like, again, what was kind of different from the past Supermans, where he's kind of like,
he's literally OP. Like, he is the top man.
Like, no one can beat him. Nothing. Like, you can't even, like, he won't even flinch if you touch him. But like this Superman, he's like
are you a bug? The one that like like if someone punched, like, you know, Man of Steel Superman or the oldest Superman, like,
yeah, like there were scenes in this Superman where like he was struggling against villains. He's like, okay, how do we beat them? He's like, I don't know what to do with like the Justice League and all these other things. And like, it was kind of refreshing, you know, to see like a hero that isn't like, oh, I win every single battle.
But you know what's interesting? Like, maybe this is a slight spoiler, but should we say like who the guy that he would always lose to was?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so sorry, this is a bit of a spoiler, but basically the guy that he would always lose to was always like in a mask and everything, and we learned towards the end that Lex Luthor and his intelligence had taken some of his DNA and had cloned him, and so he was literally fighting against himself. And like, I love the symbolism of that sometimes our greatest enemies are ourselves. Amen. Sometimes the people that can literally put us all the way down is ourselves. But if you remember the people around you, if you remember that there's so much more worth fighting for, yourself will not the bad that is trying to fight against your good will not win. And I love that. I love that so much. And I think you're right. Superman was relatable. Something about me, when I read action things, I love OP characters. Like, if you're not overpowered, I struggle. Like, I watch anime and I struggled with Naruto in the beginning. Like, bro was so weak. I'm like, bro, stop losing.
Literally the opening scene to Superman, he loses a battle.
And so I was just like, I don't know if I like that. But like I said, I love the messaging of Superman. I love that it showed his weak points. It showed his humanity. It showed that he was different, especially in this world we're living in right now, where being different or being, you know, not a certain standard according to a government's law is like placed on this pedestal. And if you're not there, you're deemed less worthy. And I love that this Superman movie showed that, and showed that does not matter. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter if you're from Mars or from Krypton or from a different country. Like, all human lives matter. And like, the real enemy is who? The big billionaires, the big people. They want only what they...
I thought you were about to say yourself.
No.
It's like
the real enemies to all of us collectively is not, you know, your neighbor. It's not Superman. It's literally the people that just are going to be funded by the conflicts you're in. And
we even see that in the movie. What's the government, that other country called that Lex Luthor's trying to like...
I don't want to mess up the name and then us get roasted again.
But anyway,
starts with J.
Jula, I don't know.
Let's not try it. We've been roasted enough about our pronunciation on social media. We're gonna take a pause.
But like, I think in this, like, there's a scene between like Lois and like Clark, or she's interviewing like Clark, but like as Superman, because like of course she knows that like Clark is Superman, which again I also found weird that like Lois and Clark were already dating and she already knew he was Superman before the movie like started, which maybe that's how it is in the comics, but again, like I was expecting like a little bit of a build up, you know, to the relationship, some angst and like, you know, whatever.
Well, it was like so weird because they were dating for 3 months, but Lois had like these like relationship issues and like... Yeah,
she's like, this is why I don't do relationships. And I was like,
really weird.
You've been dating for this long and you're saying this like now? Like what? But in this one scene, Lois is interviewing Superman and they're kind of having like a back and forth, and she's like, okay, well, did you or did you not like attack the president of this country, and did you not, or did you or did you not technically go against the laws and basically possibly start a war? And he's like, well, I did, but like that's because he was doing the wrong thing, and I had to fight him, and I had to show him that it was wrong. And so, and I actually like saw a post later that was like James Gunn like was hesitant to leave that scene in the movie because it was 8 minutes, and he thought like, oh, it might take away from the storyline. But I actually really liked that scene. That's probably one of my favorite scenes from the movie, because not only it shows like Lois and Clark's relationship, but it also shows like the difference of like political and like moral like values and views, because what he was doing was politically incorrect, but it was morally correct. So it was like he's going against this government that is trying to overpower this smaller country. They're basically trying to like run out this other country, basically like kill them, steal their land so that they could take over their entire country. And so Superman is like, well, that's wrong, so I'm going to do what I think is right to make this right. And so, but Lois is kind of saying the scene, she's like, well, that isn't your choice to make. You're not the president. You don't choose when to start and end wars. And he's like, well, then someone should do something about it. And I think that's like, it shows like how hard it is sometimes to, be able to agree with the government because it's politically correct, but then it's like morally it's like, but we're killing people and stealing people's homes. We're hurting people. And so that shows, I think, the inner struggles and like just the character of Superman is that he didn't want people to be hurt. And like, yeah, he said like kind of screw the government or whatever, but I love that scene because Lois isn't necessarily on one side or the other.
She's like, I appreciate how they portray Lois in that scene, because it showed her as a reporter. She is neutral. She is just asking the questions. Exactly. And I feel like, especially nowadays, it's almost like there's not enough neutrality. It's not like, let's just report the facts as it is. Mm-hmm. And she did that.
Yeah, she was just saying straight. She's like, okay, well, what you did was like, would make you a criminal, like this is illegal. And he's like kind of fighting back, and that's where like the whole scene ends and they get like mad, which I'm like,
he's like, this is why I don't do relationships.
I'm like, maybe don't talk about like, maybe don't mix work and politics and like your relationship all together. And like the plot, it's like in she's like a reporter, like you could tell she kind of like enjoyed it, and he was kind of like, okay, like, can we end this? Like, he's kind of done. But I really just like that scene. And I really do. I like Lois. I like Lois in every Superman, but I liked Lois in this one because she showed this neutral reporter, because literally at the end of the movie, she kind of like saves the day and she gets Lex Luthor arrested because she is the one in her team. They like gather all the facts, and she's the one that's really pushing for all these facts and for Lex Luthor to basically be destroyed at the end of the movie, which is like, I'm not saying that like other Loises, but maybe other movies sometimes they just make it, just about the romance, which, I was hoping. Or she's
always getting saved. Like, that's one thing that this movie, Lois never got saved. I don't think she got saved by Superman.
She saved Superman.
She saved Superman. And I love that because it's like, I really, one thing I despise about any type of form of entertainment, whether that be books or movies or TV shows, anything. I hate the like Sally Sue, oh, I need to be saved, save me, like help me, I'm so weak, I can't do anything on my own, I can't think for myself. I despise that type of female character. I can't stand them. I cannot.
And Lois was the opposite of that.
She was the opposite. She's like, I have my opinions. And I'll make them known. Mm-hmm. I am going to work to save you. I'm going to work in the best interest of you, but the best interest of the people, reporting the facts as they are.
Exactly.
And I love that. She had a backbone, and we need more people in society with a backbone. We shouldn't like bow down to the wealthy, because the wealthy don't care about us. And we saw that. Lex Luthor could care less about anyone. He was petitioning to the government saying, oh, Superman's so bad, he's so evil, I'm going to find you proof, trying to make it seem like he cares for the government, but it was all for his own selfish desire.
He just hated Superman.
He just literally it was so funny. There was not even a real reason why he hated him. He was just like,
he just was like, I just hate people like you that come into our world and you make it all about you and how great you are. And I'm like, what are you saying?
Like it's nonsense. And
you have
so,
no actual reason to like hate him. Like bro's like fabricating beef.
no, he literally, it was all in his head. Like the
It
whole beef
literally
was in his head,
was.
which was like, in my opinion, really funny because you're like, bro, you
made
started
the movie all the more funny because it's
Yeah.
like Lex Luthor in like the final scene is just like getting tossed around and like I'm just like all of this for what? Like literally for what?
For him to fail. And I think that I pray that the same thing will happen in our society where the people will be liberated and people will come together and gather together and realize we're not each other's enemies. It's the people that are seemingly on top that are honestly the true people that are against us.
Pulling the strings.
Yeah.
They're the puppeteers.
Yep. So another thing about this movie that was really interesting was I feel like in Man of Steel and other Supermans, it's literally only Superman. Like, it's him against, like, the world. Him saving the world. Him against that one villain or two villains or whatever. But it was not like that for this Superman. Like, yes, of course, he's the main guy fighting. He's not going to be, like, relying on someone else to fight his battles.
Mm-hmm.
However, he had a team. He had help. And he had it in different ways. There was scenes and times where it would needed to be his dad. His dad needed to sit with him, talk with him, and say, "Hey, what's going on? Like, I'm your like." He didn't say I'm your father, but
Luke,
I mean, that's literally what I just thought of. No, he didn't say that, but he sat down with him and realized his son, his 30-plus-year-old son, still needed his advice, which I love. I've loved it. Like, doesn't matter how old you are. Your parents are going to always be, like, good parents are always going to be there to be able to provide advice for you and pick you up when you're low. And I love that. But it was also, like, Lois was there.
Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific
My
was there.
favorite character.
Yeah, like, there was so many people backing him up, wanting him to succeed. And sometimes it was unexpected. Because, like, Mr. Terrific, what was the team called? They never settled on a name, right?
Well, it's the Justice League, but, like, they're like working on the name. I don't know.
Like they were working on the name the whole movie. It was kind of funny, but you at first when you first see them, you don't think that they're going to be like Superman's allies. You don't think they're because they were like, oh, we're backed by like these people when like we're like
they're like basically political.
Yeah,
they're not run by the government. They kind of work for the government. Like they can't like intervene in they can't be like Superman.
Yeah.
They help Superman, but they can't be like, going and beating up like leaders of countries whenever they want.
Yeah. But you saw that they still came to aid. They still came and they realized
Mr. Terrific came to aid. The other two
at the end. At the end. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Mr. Terrific is better.
Number one. We love it. But yeah, like it's just like sometimes like you think that you're all alone, or sometimes you think it's only me against, this enemy or me against myself. But sometimes the unexpected community, unexpected people can really come and raise you up and help you. And I think that it's important to be able to make sure you're building relationships before a situation happens, because you can't expect people to come rally and help you when you have never built or reached out to make a relationship with them for them to help you. Like, it's just like, what are you expecting?
Yeah.
But you saw Superman cultivating, I mean, obviously his family, that's different. But, with the Mr. Terrific and all these relationships with Lois, like, and even like, the Daily Planet, like all of that, they all came together and they rallied and were like, let's help this world. And I love that. I love that message.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I like about the movie is it's like Mr. Terrific's kind of like, well, I don't think he cared at all. I genuinely don't think he cared. He was kind of just there to like help Lois. He's like, well, if I don't help this girl, she's gonna get herself killed, kind of thing. And we do see that like Green Lantern and the other girl, sorry, I don't know her name. They do end up helping in the end. They like help the country that's supposed to be like invaded or whatever. But I love like the scene where Mr. Terrific and Lois go to save like Superman, because he's like basically stuck in a box with like this guy that can turn into like any like element. So he turns into kryptonite and he's basically like killing Superman, and Superman's able to escape. but then like he still needs help getting out, and it's still like Mr. Terrific and like Lois basically give him that, and they're able to like help them get out. And another thing I love about this scene is Mr. Terrific is really powerful. His powers are really cool, and he played on a huge part of the movie. Like
without him, like Superman would have failed. Like the whole world would have been split in half by the breaking of the wormhole or whatever it was.
like it's all thanks to him. It gets like put back together and like everything. And so I just love that it's like him and Superman weren't like close. Superman's
they
like,
barely talk.
Not even in the Justice League. Like they don't really talk. They don't really know each other. But it's like he comes kind of, to save the day, or he comes to kind of help him in the end. And that just shows the power of Superman, not necessarily like the guy, but just like the power and the symbolism of the character Superman, about how it's not just him fighting the battles, which I think this movie did really well. It's also the people around him. It's his mom, it's his dad, even his Kryptonian parents. For better or for worse, the message they sent may have had bad intentions, but it brought good from it. The first part, to find Earth, to help it, to build it up, to save its people, that's what drove him, and that's what made people inspired. And so I thought that was amazing.
I thought it was like I said, I gave it a 7 out of 10, not because the messaging wasn't good or like the writing in terms of like the way they choreographed everything. Like it was beautiful. It was a great movie in terms of all of that. Like the humor just was so off to me. I was like, and I was expecting a bit more, and I didn't. Like I said, I love OP characters, and he was not OP. However, I do understand the messaging and the relatability of it, and I appreciate that. And I realized that was the point of it. Like the point is to show that I am human just like you are, and treat me like a human no matter where I'm from. And I love that. I love that about Superman. And Clark Kent is such a powerful image of a superhero, because I feel like sometimes I don't think there's another superhero that is like that in that sense, where he's like, he comes from another place, is adopted, is like, all the very far from the norm. Like everything about him is not the norm. Like,
I mean, the only other person I can think of is probably like Captain America.
But even
not in the way that he's from somewhere different, but like that people looked at him differently because he was small and he came from a not very rich neighborhood, and that built him up. And the whole like, I can do this all day, like I'm gonna fight for the little guy. So I mean, not the same as Superman, but that's probably the only other superhero I can think of on the spot that's like similar.
And so, like, I love that messaging. And if you notice, those two people, they always fought for the people.
And aren't they the leaders of their teams? Like, I know, like, Captain America, Iron Man, like...
But let's be honest. Captain America was the true leader. And why did they lead? Because they knew what the focus was. The focus was the people, and not...
And they understood them,
not
too.
Not the 1%.
Exactly.
But I think that's all we have for today. We actually really enjoyed Superman. 7 out of 10 for me. Yosef went down to 6 out of 10. But that wasn't because of the story. The messaging was absolutely there. And if you haven't watched it, I do recommend watching it. Out of all the DC movies, it's definitely like up there in their top. One of the top. Like, really,
fix the humor, and I'll give it a 10.
Yeah, like, yeah. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in and listening or watching this on whatever platform you are listening or watching. Make sure, if you're watching this on YouTube, to subscribe and like this video. Make sure you turn on post notifications. We post twice a week, twice a day, on TikTok and Instagram, and then once a week for our full long form on every Monday, where we talk about different movies and TV shows. So stay tuned for next week's. And then make sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram. We do have ideas for some fun TikToks and Reels coming up, so we're excited about that. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Okay. Bye.